everyone, welcome to Art Club. Today we are going to be creating paper flowers. Yes, these are made out of paper. Aren't they beautiful? They're just gorgeous. And you're gonna make some too. So if you registered for this program, you will have already picked up your kit from the New Lenox Public Library. And if you've come across this video and you wanna make some paper flowers too, let's find out what supplies you'll need. Some strips of colored paper. These strips are about 11 by 3.5. You're gonna need green construction paper. This one's going to be for the petals for our flowers. And then you're also gonna have some strips of this type of paper with circles on them. And that's gonna be a different flower that we make. You're also gonna have a skewer, and a glue stick. And a couple things that you're gonna need from home are a ruler, a pencil, and some scissors. You might wanna have some clear tape or maybe a glue gun on hand, because sometimes when we make this type of flower, it's a little bit harder to attach it to the stem. Oh, and the straw, I forgot to tell you, there's gonna be a straw in your kit as well. This one is attached with the clear tape, but it might be easier to use a glue gun, but you gotta ask your grown-up for help with that. All right, let's get started. So we are gonna do two different types of flowers. So this here looks like a hyacinth. And then we have these pretty flowers like this. All right, so I think let's start out, we're gonna create one that looks like this. Can you believe that one little strip of paper is gonna turn into this? Let's see how it goes. So the first thing you're going to do is grab your pencil, one strip of paper, and your ruler or straight edge. All right, so I've got my ruler, my pencil, and a piece of paper. I'm gonna start out with red because I haven't made a red one yet. I thought that would look nice in my little bouquet. So you're going to take your ruler, and we don't have to measure, but we're gonna have it about this far away from the edge, and we're gonna draw a very light line, just enough so that you can see it. Just like that. Hopefully you can see that. And then we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna start cutting strips. And we're only gonna cut up to this line right here. So it's gonna look like this. It's all gonna be connected. Don't make them too thick, but we're not gonna measure. We're all just kind of guessing how to make them. If you make them too little, you're gonna have a really lot, and it's gonna take a long time to curl them, but I think it also would look very pretty on your flower. So maybe for the first one, you can make them a little bit wider, and then as you go on with your next flowers, you can actually make them a little bit thinner. So go ahead, make sure you're stopping at the line so they're all still connected. All right, go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna show you another way. If you're looking to save a little bit of time and you've already made a couple and you know what you're doing, you can draw your line, fold your paper. Let's just fold it once, but you could probably fold it twice. And then you're gonna start cutting both layers right up to that line. So if you're comfortable with that technique, you can give that a try. If you go along and you open it up and you think, oh my gosh, that strip is way too large, you can just go ahead and cut it and make it a little smaller. No flowers are perfect, so if you have some petals that are thicker than others and some that are thin, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to open this up, and you can see how we got all those lines, but this one I didn't cut because, oh, it kind of looks like it's the same size of the others, but it's right there on that fold. So when you open it up, it's really thick. So I'm just gonna cut down that fold, cut down that line. And now it's just like the others. Maybe a little too big, but that's okay. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna turn the paper over so you do not see that line, okay? And we're gonna start curling this way. So let's start out using the skewer that I included, and then if you find that it's too thin and you want to try using a paintbrush or even a small screwdriver, you can do that. See the difference in the width? But we don't want to get too big. If you try it with a pencil, it's going to probably be a little bit too big. So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You're going to take your paper and you're going to roll it around the skewer and just kind of roll it. You can kind of spin it in between your fingers like this, and then you just pull it out. Some of you might need to try getting it started by laying it on the table. So you'll put it on the edge and roll it over, and you can spin it this way. And if it does spin and go off to the side, that's okay too. So that works. Some of you might even find it's easier to roll away. So you'll turn it around, get it started, and roll it like that. So they're gonna look a little crazy, and that's okay. I'll show you another one. You're gonna put the tip of the paper around the skewer. Whoops. So yes, it is hard to hold on to sometimes. You're gonna put it around, and then you're gonna twist it. And once it's on there, you can just take your fingers and just kind of push this finger and your thumb like in an opposite movement direction, and then roll it up and pull it out. So let's work on that a few minutes together on the video, and then I'll probably stop on my end. You guys can catch up, and then I'll show you the next step. So this does take a long time, and like I always say, sometimes art cannot be rushed. So go ahead, take your time. And you can see I've got some that are a little looser than others, some that are a little tighter, and that's perfectly fine. I find for myself, getting it started up off the table seems to work better, but I don't really know if that's because I have bigger fingers. Just keep trying. And I would say too, if you accidentally rip one of your strips off, I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference in the final product. So just keep going and forget about that and just keep curling. One missing petal will be fine. So how's it going? Did anybody find out if using this skewer is a little bit too hard? I thought it was going to be harder because when I made my samples, I used a paintbrush, but I actually think this skewer is working really well. But again, I have bigger fingers, so you'll have to play around and see what works. So while you're creating these flowers, have you thought about what you're going to do with them? You can put them in a vase, put them in a cup. You can give them to someone as a gift. I know Mother's Day is coming up, so that might be a nice gift for your mom or someone special. I'm going to keep mine on my desk at work. All right, there we go. Look at that. So the next thing we're gonna need is our straw and our glue. So I don't have the bag with me today. I just started making this project, so you might want to put your bag down on your work surface because you might get some glue on there. So I'm just gonna use another one of these strips. So you're gonna take your curls and turn them over. So now you're gonna be back on that side with the line, and you're gonna try to straighten it out just a little bit, and you're gonna take your glue stick and put some glue on here. Now this might dry and you might have to add a little bit more as you go, but this is just to get it started. So get your glue on there, and then you're gonna take your straw and you're gonna start at the edge, and you're gonna set it right there on that paper, and then you're just gonna start twirling it around. So when I first started my project, where's my sample? Here it is. This is my very first one I made, and I didn't overlap it quite enough. So this is kind of not what you want it to look like, but if it turns out like that, that's okay. So you're just going to ever so slowly start moving your paper down lower on your straw. So you're just spinning it around. You have to try to do it a little bit tight, so pull a little bit towards you. Not super hard, but just a little bit, and just keep spinning it around. I'm gonna add a little bit more glue here. And then you're gonna keep spinning it around. It's not gonna lay completely flat on your straw, so you can just push it down. And there we go. So I'm going to hold it on the edge for a couple of seconds. I want to make sure that that glue is sticking. And look at that. That turned out really nice. I like how some are really tight, some are looser. If you think that all yours are tight, you can kind of pull it out a little bit. and make it a little looser. So if you've got one that's super loose, like this one, once this is dried on here, you can go back. I'll try to do it now without ungluing it, and curl it again. Give it another curl, twist it around, and pull it out. And there we go. So we'll make our leaves later on after we've made another flower, and that way we can work just on leaves. All right, so now grab your paper that has circles on it, and we are going to cut out the circle. We don't need to see the line, so cut just inside. If the line shows, it's okay, but you can try to cut inside the circle so we don't see the line. My line shows just a little bit. I'm not going to go back and recut it, but you can do what you like. You can pause the video and go back, but this is what we're going to do. So you're going to take your circle, and this is for this type of flower here. You're going to take your circle and you're going to fold it in half and make a nice crease. And then we are going to fold it in half again and make another crease like that. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is take our scissors and we're going to cut some strips along here up towards this top of the triangle. I'm going to put my thumb here because we're not going to want to go all the way up to the top. We're going to want to stop at a good distance. So put your thumb there. Your thumb is smaller, so maybe leave a little bit of a tip, you know, and hold it. Okay, so my thumb is bigger, you're not going to see the tip, but if your thumb were about this big, you would see a little bit of the tip there. And then we're just going to start cutting little strips. These strips are going to be smaller than the ones we did on that other flower. Also, because this part is smaller than this part, our cuts are going to be a little bit different. They're not going to be perfectly straight. They might almost look like a pizza where it's wider down here and narrower up at the top. That's okay. Just keep going. If you go back in a few minutes and you decide one is really too thick at the bottom, you can just give that another cut. So I feel like this one's a little bit thick, so I'm going to try to carefully cut up here. I might not go all the way because I don't want to accidentally cut that off, but I'm going to try it and see what happens. I'm going to cut this one too, and this one. Sometimes it's easier to just go back and do it again and see all that. All right, so now let's open it up and see what we've got. Ooh, and it looks like this. All right. So sometimes where you have those folds, you're going to have the extra wide strips. So I'm going to cut those right on the crease. And then they look a little closer to what the other pieces look like. So those are going to be our petals. That looks pretty good. And now we're going to have to cut one of these creases up to the center. So see where we have this X here in the center? Pick one crease, okay, and just cut it up to the center. So I'm gonna go up here. So now our paper looks like this. There's one opening. Can you see that? Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is take our glue stick and we're gonna put some glue in the center, the part where we did not cut. We'll add some glue. And then this is a little tricky. So we're gonna start by trying to turn this over. And we're not gonna fold it down and crease it, but we're going to try to make maybe like a cone or a flat type piece, but not super flat. And we're just gonna keep twisting it around And as we're twisting it, it automatically is curling around in the curve. I'm not sure what to call this, but we're just gonna keep going around and around, and this is what we're gonna come up with. So you've got your glue there on the end. Let's hold it. Hold it there for a little bit. Make sure that it sticks. All right, so now we can choose a couple different ways to make our flowers. So here's a sample. This one has all straight petals. This one has been curled. So you can take your skewer and you can curl each individual petal. And you remember which way works best for you, whether it's laying it on the table, doing it away from you. So these might curl up really tiny, and that's okay because once you get everything done, you can loosen them up a little bit, or you can keep them tiny. This one, it's a little bit looser, but see, you can see here where they're starting to curl. You can try curling just the edge. So let's try a couple different ways. We'll just do maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe spin just a little bit. So then you've got this look. You can try even your pencil. Let's give that a try. I think on this one, the pencil would look okay if we just spin it a little bit. Whoops. Did that happen to anybody yet where it just flies right out of your hand? So the pencil's not working that great for me, but it's also not stick straight like this one. So it really depends on what type of look you're going for. I did also, I tried on some of my samples just poking it and moving it around. And you can get a flower that looks like that. Very pretty. There we go. So now this one is gonna be a little bit harder to get into your stem. So mine is a little thick here at the bottom. So I'm gonna try to fold it over just a little bit and make it a little bit skinnier. And then I'm gonna try to stuff it right inside the straw. So it did make my paper go back together like that, but once you have it glued in there or taped on there very nicely, you can go back again and play with the flower and get it into the shape that you like. So this again here is where you could put some glue on here with the glue stick and give it a try. If it doesn't stay, get some clear tape or ask your grown-up to help you with a glue stick. All right, here we go. Let's start working on our leaves. So for our flowers that look like hyacinths, hyacinths have a longer, straighter up type of leaf. So I made some like this. I put 4 on here. You can put whatever you like. You could even put 2 on there if you want, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like. So I started out with green construction paper, and I just drew, I have it doubled up, so when I cut, I'm gonna cut 2 at a time, and I just drew 1 on there. I just kind of made a little curve and came down. So now this one's a little bit thicker than the other ones that I've made. It's perfectly fine. Each one is different. So then you can just cut it out. You're gonna cut 2 at once if if you have your paper folded over like that. And there we go. I would say these kind would look just as nicely on our other flowers, but I think they only need 2. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue here and here, and I'm going to put it on the straw, hold it down. Sometimes it takes the glue stick a little bit longer to hold on there, so maybe you can count to 20 or 30, and then I'll put the other one on the back. This one I want on the front. I'll put this one on the back at the same time, and then I can just hold it, give it a count to 30, and voila. It's not quite sticking as much as I would like it to quick enough, so I'm going to fold this back and add a little bit of glue here. So give that a try. And then just keep holding it. There, that's much better. All right, so here's your petals. And again, you'll take your paper and you'll just draw out what you want your petal to look like. Cut it out because you've got 2 layers of paper. The hyacinths can have maybe 3 or 4, and they're gonna go more straight up, where this one is going to go more out on an angle. Thank you for joining me, everyone. How did your flowers turn out? I bet they're beautiful. If you would like to share those with me so I can see them, you can send them to the information that is on the screen. And this is the last art club. We're getting ready for summer reading that's coming up, and we will have art club in the summer, so watch for that, and then we'll start up again in the fall. Happy spring, everyone.